Hi, everyone. Welcome to week one, session two. The next point on this PowerPoint talks about completing the on-course assessment via the link on our homepage. Well, that link no longer works, and I'm negotiating with the publisher to let us have free access to the on-course assessment. So stay tuned for that. So you can't print out your results yet, but you could take that narcissism personality test. We'll be talking about narcissism. Please also consider signing up with our Transfer Center to get your TAG, your Transfer Agreement Guarantee. This is an agreement between you and your transfer college that if you take and earn B's or A's in the classes they require, you're automatically admitted. So you just decide on the schools you want to go to, narrow it down, see what their requirements are, see if we have a tag agreement with them, and you are given a list of courses they require you to take, and if you earn A's and B's, you're automatically admitted. I'm not kidding. This is a really golden opportunity for you. So check out the Transfer Center. It's wonderful to know which college you're going to and that you're guaranteed to get in. You don't have to fill out the application, you don't pay the application fee, and you know you're going there, so you're first on the list to get housing. Okay, now to the content of our class. Those are all the practical details. My question is, how can psychology help you achieve an education? After all, psychology is about the mind and about your thinking processes and your emotions, and all of those things are involved in helping you have an education. So I would like to know if you want to know the 8 student success behaviors that lead to the accomplishment of an education. And if you knew them, would you be willing to work to improve your chances of completing your education? Are you willing to make the sacrifices that lead to your educational success? So pause here and think about your answers to these questions, and then we'll move on. So the 8 characteristics of successful college students are revealed in the on-course self-assessment that we currently do not have access to. I'm going to talk about how our exam works and then move on to our first question. I'm going to give you 5 questions throughout the semester, and we will discuss the answers to them fully. I will present material on them. You will work in small groups. You will work with a partner. You will have your answers to these questions ready to go on April 23rd. Then, when I come in the morning, I tell you which question I've decided you will write on, and you write on it from memory. However, for 3 of these questions, you can bring prompts to help you answer. So the first prompt, if we get access to it, is your printout from your on-course self-assessment. That's why I want you to print it out, but don't write on it. And again, it's currently not available to us, so stay tuned. So here's the question on student success. So after taking the on-course self-assessment of college success, assuming you get to take it, I would like you to discuss 5 things that you can improve and a specific thought and behavior you can implement for each one. Then you'll select one of those 5 for a self-change project. So to prepare for our exam, again, you'll have 5 questions. You prepare your answer, commit it to memory. I will select one on exam day. And if I select this one, you'll have your printout to look at, so you don't need to memorize everything. If you don't get to take the assessment, then I will explain the characteristics to you, and you will just see which ones, since you know yourself, that you might be able to improve on. So first I explain the question. This is throughout our whole semester. Then I lecture on it. Then you work on your answer in class and at home. Last, you bring your answer to class and get feedback from fellow students. Then memorize your answer. Okay, example items from the on-course self-assessment are things like, I control how successful I will be. And you would answer that from totally false to totally true. Again, we don't have access to this right now. If we get it, I'll come back. Okay, so your important question that many of you are asking yourselves is, what do I need to work on to improve my performance? Example results. So the on-course self-assessment of learning and college success scores you on dimensions such as, do you accept personal responsibility for your own learning? Do you find yourself self-motivated, or do you rely on external things to motivate you? Do you manage yourself well in terms of time, in terms of setting up a study schedule, in terms of having everything you need, in terms of materials available to you? Are you interdependent? This one refers to asking for help. Are you willing to ask fellow students, instructors, and tutors for help on your assignments and in preparing for tests? Another dimension, gaining self-awareness. How much have you ever paid attention to your approach to learning? Do you know where your strengths are and where your challenges are? Adopting lifelong learning, which is valuing learning as growth, is an important dimension. Many students are here, they think, to get a job, but you can go to trade schools and private commercial colleges that will train you for specific job skills. Here at Modesto Junior College and all of the 2- and 4-year universities that are in the state university system emphasize becoming educated and valuing learning rather than job preparation. So it's important that you assess whether or not you actually value learning. Developing emotional intelligence, that's really important, and we're going to talk about that in detail. And finally, believing in yourself needs to be a paramount thing in your mind so that you have a vision of what you're going to be like in the future, maybe 5 years, 10 years from now, and believing that you can create that future. So if you're able to take this test, you'll see there are 8 dimensions, and I'm asking you to identify your 5 lowest scores. So if we don't get to take the test, then you'll just look at this lecture material and you'll decide which 5 things you might benefit from focusing on and increasing your skills in this area. So the scores on the actual self-inventory go from 0 to 80, and 0 to 39, your choices will probably not keep you in college. 40 to 63 is where your choices will sometimes help you stay in college, but if your scores are 64 to 80, it's likely that it will keep you on course and keep you successful in college. So I hope you guys get to take the assessment. Here's an example of a thought related to accepting personal responsibility. So, I need to reduce my victim language, blaming, complaining, and excusing. So I will say, I am responsible for my own learning and success in college, and I will not let my thoughts tell me otherwise. So that's an example of a thought that helps you on the dimension of personal responsibility. Here's an example of behavior related to believing in myself. So you might be able to say that you want to commit to your dreams, visualizing the successful creation of your ideal future. So a behavior that you could do related to that would be, I wrote my ideal future on a paper and put it on my mirror so I read it every day. If I was writing this when I was a freshman at this very college, I would have said that my ideal future would be to become a college professor and to become a licensed marriage and family therapist so I could blend the practice of psychology with the teaching of psychology. I would also have added that I'd like to be married and I'd like to have children. I'd like to own my own home, have a nice car, be able to take vacations, and in the case of my profession, have some summers off. Okay, I don't need to review this exam process with you. I think you guys have it. Oh, and it's April 23rd. Okay, so if this question were to be selected for our exam, it would look like this. On one side of the page, I would say list your success behavior. For example, gaining interdependence, being willing to ask for help. And a thought would be, I'm beginning to realize that asking for help is a strength rather than a weakness, and I'm going to commit to doing it. A behavior, I commit to going to my professor's offices each time I want clarification on an assignment or in preparation for an exam. So you would list a second success behavior. Let's say you're going to list becoming more self-aware. A thought that you might have is, I'm beginning to realize that I talk myself out of studying by telling myself I don't really need to do it. So my new thought is going to be, I acknowledge that I benefit from studying for exams and in preparation for assignments, and I'm going to do so. And the behavior would be, if you're trying to gain self-awareness, each day at a particular time, maybe at the end of classes, I'm going to sit and pause and reflect, maybe in my car as I leave the campus, or maybe on my bike, or maybe as I walk. And I'm going to reflect on what my attitude is about the different assignments that I have in my various classes. So you would do that for 5 success behaviors. Then you pick one of these and create a self-change project. Self-change project, again, list the success behavior and your score on it if you happen to get a score, and give an example of your current problem thought. So back to the success behavior of interdependence. One problem thought that a lot of us have is, I'm not going to ask for help because it makes me look stupid. An example of a new success thought is, actually, what makes me look stupid is not to perform well on exams and assignments. And what does make me look smart is going to ask for help. So give an example of a behavior you will actually perform that improves your performance. You might say, well, I know I'm going to struggle with math this semester, so I'm going to go over to the library, to the tutoring center, and make an appointment with a math tutor each week to help me work on my assignments. Then the question is, well, who are you accountable to? Because if we're accountable to someone, we're more likely to follow through with a behavior. I recommend that you be accountable to a friend or anyone except your significant other, because they sometimes give you grief when you don't succeed, and we don't need that. So what you do with your accountability partner is you just say, I'm working on this success change project, and I would like you to just ask me how it's going. Therefore, you'll know they're going to ask you, and maybe you will do better because you should be honest when you respond to them. And how will you reinforce yourself? What daily thing would you like to earn if you are following your self-change project? And maybe what would you like to earn at the end of the week? So some of you would like to have a Starbucks. Some of you might like to download some music. Some of you might like some free time to just go out and exercise, watch a favorite thing on Netflix. Whatever reinforces you, allow yourself to earn it by cooperating with your self-change project.